Welcome back to the Amateur Hunting Channel, and today we're going to be cooking up the porcupine that we had caught the other day when we were hunting looking for snowshoe hares. So it's been sitting in the water now for 48 hours, and as you can see, looks like most of the blood is drained completely out of it and is now in the water here. So there's the carcass, there's the heart. We're just going to get rid of the rest of this water. You don't want to keep this. Alright, so I'll keep the container here. Now this is my first time taking apart a porcupine, but it's probably going to be very similar to that of snowshoe hare and other animals. So first thing we're going to do is cut off the front legs. So I'm going to grab my small paring knife for this one. Just cut through the meat here. Always make sure you work with sharp knives. Don't want to work with a dull knife. It's going to be useless. Okay. And as you can see, the front legs, very similar to that of a snowshoe hare. They're actually not connected. It's a free floating shoulder blade here. So there's one leg cut off. And we're just going to cut this up because it's going to fit a lot better in the stewing pot. We're going to cook it up and make some pulled pork out of it. You can throw the whole carcass in one piece if you wanted to, but I personally prefer cutting it up because when you're all done cooking it, you're going to have to be pulling off the meat off the bone anyways, so may as well get it done now. Hey buddy, what's going on? No, as for the back legs, the best thing to do for the back legs, it's a porcupine, buddy. Did you want to help? Yeah. Okay. We're going to have our assistant here help me out.
No, Wally, you don't touch it, okay?
We don't
take
touch
your chair. Bring your chair over.
So, just so you saw there, what happens is I trim the meat down here. And as you can see, I popped out the ball joint
Over side, other side, Wally.
of the rear legs. It's okay, buddy. Come on. Yeah, we're gonna get you some gloves in a minute, buddy. We're gonna get you some gloves in a minute if you want to wait. Okay?
I can make glasses I can touch.
That's right.
But for now, you can look with your eyes, not your hands. Okay?
So as you can see, when you expose the ball joint, it makes it very easy. And now you just trim it. Now you've popped it out of the joint, you just trim it out. And I'm actually gonna grab my bigger knife for this one. Hey, bud.
Where's the other one?
What do you mean? Where's the other meat? There you go. There's one rear leg.
You know that?
No. Not gonna eat that.
Why?
And then same thing here. I'm going to use my big knife for this one. So just what you want to do is you find your pelvis, you cut straight down, right along the pelvis. You expose the joint there and you just pop it out.
I put this on so
There you go. So you can actually see it popped out the ball joint.
I can wash it.
Thanks, Wally. We don't want to wash it right now. We're going to wash our meat later, okay? And now that you popped it out of the joint, now all you have to do is just cut right beside it. Cut out the joint.
Mommy.
No.
Why?
Because I said no.
There you go. And there's the other leg. So we got all 4 legs cut off. Now we got the rest of the carcass. So looking at it compared to a rabbit, it looks like there's a little bit of meat here along the back of the spine. And there's this excess skin. I personally don't like eating this stuff on a rabbit, so I don't imagine it'll taste much better on a porcupine here. So I'm just going to trim off all this excess skin, and we're not going to put that in the pot. Some people do enjoy eating it, but I personally just don't want to get. I personally just don't like it. That's going to be your toss. So I'm just going to toss in the sink for now. And we're going to take care of this skin on this side too. Okay, so now that the skin's pulled off, now what we're going to do is to fit it in, we're going to cook this all as one, we're going to cook it all in the pot together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half right where the ribs are. So what you can do is you can see the spine's exposed there. So I'm going to put my knife right where right where the ribs meet here, right in between two. There you go. Snap it. Finish cutting through.
Mommy.
There you go. And as you can see, looks like there's still a bit of meat there. So now what we're gonna do is, now that we got all of our pieces all cut up, it's gonna fit into our pot nicely. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab all of our pieces, run it under some water. As like, unfortunately, there's still a little bit of hair here. There's still a little bit of the membrane. We're gonna take care of that and get rid of that, so that way it doesn't end up in our stock pot. So yeah, so cut back in a second and we'll take a look at rinsing the meat off. So let's start rinsing off the pieces here. Basically, you want cold water. Never ever rinse your meat with warm water. Always use the coldest setting you have on your tap. That's this membrane here. Should just rip right off. There you go. You can have some yogurt, buddy. Go ahead. And just rinse off any more loose hairs you got. You don't want to have any hairs in the pot. After all, this is the last chance you get to really make sure your meat's clean. So all this fat here, I'm going to leave the fat on. Get a bit of flavor in the meat. Get a little bit of flavor in the pot. As most chefs know, your flavor is going to come from the fat. A lot of your good quality flavor there. So yeah, take your time, rinse it off as best as you can. Obviously, we don't want to rush this step. You don't want to have porcupine hair in your food. It's bad enough when you're at a restaurant and you find a human hair in your food, let alone a porcupine. All right, just a little bit more. Clearly, I got to do a better job skinning it next time. Get all the hairs. Take a last look. Okay, looks good. Chuck it in the pot. And now we're going to do the same for the rest of the meat here. Just simply try and see if there's any more membrane on it. So right there you can see a bit of a membrane. You'll also understand it's membrane because it feels very slippery. Rinse it off. And any bits of membrane, I always just chuck it off to the side of the sink to be thrown away later. Still a bit more membrane. And just do your best job. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but better than nothing. Okay, here's off of there. And now you're just going to simply repeat the process with the rest of the meat. So I'm just going to finish up here, rinsing off all the rest of these legs, making sure all the hairs are off, peeling off any more membrane, leaving some of the fat on, and then we'll cut back to you as we get ready to cook the rest of the ingredients in the pot. Okay, so now we got our sliced onions here. Hi, buddy. Just going to put our sliced onions at the bottom of the pot. Now we're going to put in our porcupine. Put the meat all in. Okay. And don't forget about your heart. I gotta tell you, the heart, honestly, guys, is the best part on any animal. It tastes so good. As long as you get past that part of it looks like it, it's really, really tasty. So now we just put our porcupine in the pot. Just gonna give my hand a quick wash. And then we're gonna fill in the pot with water. you want to make sure that there's enough water in the pot to say, because looking at where the porcupine is, put it up a good fair amount. After all, we're going to be boiling it for, let's see, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere in there. Okay, there you go. So we got enough water in there. Now it's time to spice it up a bit. Some things I'll put in some Worcestershire sauce. Can't go wrong with that. Give it a few dashes. We're not doing an exact science here, guys. Next, using some strained tomatoes. You can use crushed tomatoes as well, or the diced tomatoes that you find in a can. Just give it a little bit of that tomato-y flavor. Put a little bit in there. Again, no measurements, just put a little bit in there. Next, we're going to put in some garlic. Can never go wrong with using garlic. I got about 6 cloves here that I'm putting in. Hi, Wally. Making dinner, buddy.
No, I'm on the stove.
Oh, nice.
See?
Good job, buddy. Alright, so now we got most of our garlic in there. Now we're going to use some onion powder. Just plop some in there. It's good.
Look at my pumpkin, Daddy.
Yeah, buddy. Garlic powder. Italian seasoning. Good. And then lastly, you're going to put in a bit of salt. Now, one thing I'm omitting is that you can use pepper as well. Plus, you can also add in some cayenne pepper to add a little bit of a kick. But since I got some friends coming over, one of which has a allergy to pepper, we're going to leave that out of this recipe for now. But if you're going to do this yourself, I highly recommend you do that. Give it a bit of a stir, mix it all, make sure it's all underwater, everything's all mixed in. And there you go. Not gonna lie, that actually smells pretty damn awesome. First time trying this recipe, so we see how it goes. And that's it. So now we're just gonna put it up. Probably gonna bring this to a boil, get it boiling, and then once it's down to a boil, we're gonna put it down low, have it simmer. We're gonna put this on for about an hour and a half. Check on it, and then when we pull it out, we'll record you guys and show you what it looks like when it's all done and ready. See you when it's all done. Okay. All right. Porcupine's boiling now for, what is it, hour and 45 minutes. Now we're just gonna pull it out and start pulling off the bones. Looking pretty good. All right. So we got all of our meats off. Alright, so that becomes a wonderful process trying to pull this off here. Actually, most of it is falling out pretty good. Use a fork here. There you go. 2 forks. See, it's starting to come up pretty good. Not gonna lie, it looks pretty darn good. That's good. That's really, really good. And actually, surprisingly does remind me a bit of a pork taste. Hi, Wally. So here we got all our meats all separated. The bones are all in the pot. And for the barbecue sauce, I personally like Bullseye Guinness. But realistically, whatever barbecue sauce you guys like as your own, add it on. Don't add too much. After all, you don't want to drown the meat in it. Just enough to give it a nice little coating. Mix that all up. Add a bit more barbecue sauce. And now, for most people, you'd be good to go. But shout out to my Uncle Joey, who told me this idea. We're now just we got the oven on broil. We're just gonna pop it in for maybe a couple minutes, just to crispen up the top a little bit and let it caramelize with the meat. Pop it on your buns and you're good to go. So yeah, I'll post a link, or sorry, I'll post in the description how it worked out. But yeah, so far so good. So stay tuned for more recipes in the future, guys. Ciao.